Imagine an island with 1,000 people, isolated from all other peoples. It is difficult to imagine, given just that amount of information, someone on the island, not having a place to live. What would have to happen to make a percentage of a small, isolated population homeless? In other words, homelessness is caused by a sophisticated economic system and is deliberate. Economic textbooks teach students about subsistence cultures and specialization. Subsistence cultures do not specialize. They live simply because each person makes what he or she needs for his or her own family. The specialization that exists is primarily to do with sexual roles. Everyone is sufficient, but that sufficiency is primarily due to the fact that the tribe lives at the level that the least able can achieve. The people subsist, they do not civilize. Civilization requires specialization. Imagine if one portion of the population farmed and the rest built homes. If too many farmed and not enough built homes, or vice versa, there would be a problem. When a population begins to specialize, balance between the specialties is always a problem. But this problem would be exacerbated if a portion of the population put on sex shows, and a large percentage of the remainder paid a sizable percentage of their income to watch. The performers might make sufficient income to buy 10 homes and rent them out, or alternatively, they might buy one large estate equal in size and 10 homes. It is possible that these performers would earn so much money that they consumed most of the island's resources. If a small percentage of the population captured a large percentage of the island's income, there would not be much demand for workers. Those who worked would be poorly paid. This is an important factor to take note of. The fewer hands demand is concentrated in, the lower the need for labor, which makes the cost of labor decline. Without the use of a unit of exchange, it is difficult to distort an economy sufficiently to end up with homelessness. The presence of homelessness, in other words, is a symptom of a relatively small number of persons controlling the money supply. We can look at this problem of monetary bottlenecks in another way. Perhaps the island is introduced to drugs. People stop working and so, they become homeless. The point is, it is not difficult to understand homelessness if we are honest. Why would people who take drugs not be homeless? Why would people who cannot earn a decent living not be homeless? It takes a lot to understand why a sizable population not doing constructive, well-paid work would not be homeless. That being said, what if one family declared they were divine? They declared their word had to be obeyed. What they spoke was the law. The king picked out the most desirable girls each year at a grand event and married them or married them off to his sons. Over time, the ruling family grew in size in proportion to the rest of the island. The wives all had to have their homes, which were sizable, so more and more of the island's labor force was committed to providing homes for the ruling family. This made it harder and eventually impossible for the islanders to provide sufficient homes for the working class, some of which became homeless. Possibly, the ruling family would come to own the island and the people would all be unpropertied serfs owing life and allegiance to the royal family. Of course, one of these factors does not have to exist in isolation. It is the proportion of the total population that do not actively contribute to the production of goods and services, yet consume and often consume disproportionately more than average, that causes shortages. Criminals have to be housed, and when not housed by the state, they are often destroying what has been built. But why are prisoners not put to work building houses for pay? Put their pay in a trust account. This is available to them when they are released, minus the cost of their incarceration. If they create costs for the institution, they are levied the cost of their infraction. The account is supervised during their period of parole. If they commit a crime, during the period of their parole, their account is debited the costs the crime imposes on society. The ruling elite and the business elite are like criminals. They are being housed and benefited at a rate way beyond what they contribute. How much wealth does a politician contribute over his lifetime? Some have been in politics for 50+ years. What is the total value of their output compared to the value of what they consumed? If a person is a business, how much profit did they earn the people? Was the cost of them worth it? At what point do we look at a person and decide this person is of no value to society? If John is destroying or consuming $1,000 of value per week and producing little or nothing of value, is John not technically a criminal, regardless of what the law says or does not say? Does not society have a right to expect each of us to pay their own way? Who was born with the right to be subsidized? Anyone who runs up a non-repayable debit is by this fact a criminal and deserves to be put to work under controlled conditions. This can well be in the building of homes, but might mean the planting of trees or the cleaning of streams, whatever needs to be done. It is not the law that is broken that defines a criminal, it is the balance of his accounts.